Welcome back to Unlock with Daryl L. Davis. Before we get started on this here content today, we like to make sure to remind you to like, share, and subscribe to context. Today we'll be bringing you some things about what's going on around the state of Texas in the judicial system. We'll start off with this lawyer out of Houston. Back in June, they started having deaths in Houston in Harris County Jail where inmates was dying of drug overdoses. And they went to investigating to see what they could come up with. And anytime you dealing with an inmate, no matter how solid they say that they are rats. They're going to tell it. They already want to get out of jail, and they just looking for a way. Well, this lawyer who was 77 years old, his name was Ronald Lewis. He decided to take on a couple of clients in Harris County Jail. Instead of him trying to get them out, he's making a way for himself to go in. It was discovered here recently that Attorney Lewis was supplying inmates with contraband, like this sheet of paper here. This sheet of paper here is worth $3,000 to $5,000 to an inmate. And the reason being because the inmate smoked this paper. And an officer or inmate can get an officer to bring him this paper, and he will give an officer $300 to $500 for a sheet of this paper. Now imagine an officer bringing in 10 sheets of this paper a day at $300 a day, at $300 a sheet. That's $3,000 a day, people. Well, you had Attorney Lewis that had several clients in the Harris County Jail, and they were spraying K2, a chemical synthetic marijuana, on sheets of paper and smuggling them into the county jail. Well, this stuff was so potent that a few inmates died, and they went to investigating, and lo and behold, they told on Attorney Lewis. Now Attorney Lewis is facing charges of taking contraband into the Harris County Jail. It wouldn't surprise me if before long Attorney Lewis will be fighting murder charges because he contributed to the cause of a death of an inmate. Now you have several inmate families now that has a lot of questions dealing with the Harris County jail system and the corruption that's in it. Anytime that you can manipulate a person with a career, a long-lasting career. At 77 years old, Attorney Allen had been practicing law, let's say 40 years, at least 40 years. He should have known better. But the temptation of the love of money outweighed his freedom at that point. And before this is all over with, who's to say what he's facing at his age? 77, wow, man. That's a ripe old age to be getting in trouble. But nevertheless, Attorney Lewis, he did that, and inmates gave him up. When I was in prison, it wasn't the paper that they were smoking then. When I was in prison, it was a leafy substance that looked like potpourri. It was called K2. And I seen men get stuck and couldn't move. Actually, they had to be, the water had to be dashed on them. Some had to be pulled to the shower. Hey, it's some crazy episode. It's a drug that touches the pleasure system and your neurology system. So you got a combination of both. And when it touches your nervous system, your nerves just go haywire. You can get stuck. You can bend up like a rubber band. I seen dudes walking forward looking backwards. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what this stuff will do to you. Nevertheless, Attorney Lewis found himself in a world of trouble. And when I was in jail back in March of this year, I had a youngster that was some kind of way getting this from his lawyer. And he was just smoking all day long, just smoking paper all day long. They take a toilet paper and they roll the toilet paper up. And I'm gonna show this to you on one of my videos. And they light it and make a wick. And this paper will burn until it burnt up or until you put it out. It's not gonna go out on its own. Very few weeks go out on its own if they made right. So this guy would make a wick and it would just burn. It wasn't made right, it would just burn. And the whole dorm became smoke. And on top of that, he just smoking paper. And one day they came in there and took our TV. And dudes went to crying about the TV. That's the way they punish it. So they took a couple of them out of there, and they didn't have to take but 2 or 3. And when they come back and got their man. But nevertheless, those 2 or 3 didn't have to tell it because everything was being did. It was up under the camera. But when you own narcotics and you incarcerated, it's a problem. Incarceration is supposed to be about fixing the being that's incarcerated, not making the being worse. So, Attorney Lewis, whatever you get, man, you made your bed, you're dealing with those inmates, you know, and you've been dealing with inmates for a long time, and you know that inmates are some rotten human beings. Not all of us, but many of us are. We're trying to get out of a situation that we have placed ourselves in, and we'll use anything and anybody. I have seen it done before. Next up, we have the officer, 27-year-old Javon Motley, who died in the midst of use of force on the Wainwright unit down in Houston County. His family still haven't got any answers yet as to what happened to him. This is going on 3 weeks now. I think this was back on the 15th of November when this took place. Officer Motley family deserve answers. When I was in there and I would see officers catch a inmate walking down the bowling alley or the sidewalk, and they would pull him over, and they know the history of this inmate, but yet and still they pick at him until the inmate snap. Mental abuse in prison, you could just imagine a person that's been on drugs and maybe still on drugs while in prison, or walking and wandering. Mind is not there with them. The pressure that's mounting up on them, the years of time. Yeah, they might have done it to themselves, but in actuality, they're still human beings, and they're in a situation that they cannot deal with. So for an officer just to take advantage of them like that, or take advantage of us like that, it's unrealistic. I never just was put in a situation like that where an officer just actually put their hands on me. But yeah, I had some in my face and I was threatened multiple times down there. But by the grace of God, he shielded me from being physically touched by an officer. I never had a use of force on me. I never had an officer to put their hand on me in that kind of way. But I have seen it happen. And I seen officers want an inmate so bad that they would beat each other up to get to this inmate. And inmates, the only thing the inmate can really do is maybe get 1 lick, 2 licks in, if he's just not a trained assassin. But for them to suit up with them teams and run in there on you like that, it's unreal. They shooting gas, they making noise while they running in on you, and they hitting each other with billy clubs. And we want some answers for Officer Motley family from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice on exactly what happened to them. It's an agency that keep everything inside. I was on units where the warden, the major, and the captains knew that inmates had drugs, knew that the inmates had cell phones, knew that the inmates had cash money. It was okay with those wardens that this went on in that system. The only thing that the warden would ask of the inmate, keep your business inside this unit. When your business will come outside this unit, it then become my business, our business, right? You remember the cell phone incident that went back around 2000 and let's say 2000, where the inmate had on death row had got a cell phone and called Senator Whitmire. Well, you know, wardens knew that them cell phones was on them units. They didn't care. But when that guy called Senator Whitmire, it became a problem. They locked down the whole entire state of Texas and searched for cell phones. Them people found over 5,000 cell phones then. Many of them was on the Daryl unit. They said they were pulling cell phones out of the drain pipe down there like they were pulling fish. So it happens. I was a victim caught up by corrupt officers in that criminal justice system. So Officer Motley, we're gonna try to get you some answers. We'll try to get your family some answers to exactly what happened to you. We may never know. Let's say what some inmates there that inmates that eyewitnessed this incident that's able to get their word outside that unit. East Ham is an old unit. I still call it East Ham, but it's the Wainwright unit now. It's a very old unit. It's centuries old, and it's a long hallway unit. So a lot of times when things happen on them long hallway units, they have what you call crash gates. Many of you don't know what this is, but it's a gate that's in the middle of the hallway. It shuts, bam, and it locks the hallway, so can't nothing get through. And you have maybe about 10 or 12 different sections, depending on how long the hallway is on that unit. You lock down in certain units. So it could have been an incident around the child area, where it was many incidents, but the child hall door closed. But you still have some people trapped out there. It could have been an incident in the laundry area, in the housing area. I don't know. I wasn't there, but someone saw something that's willing to get out, and those rascals are down there are so shiesty that TDC will play them to keep their mouth closed and promise them different little old things. They will promise them everything but their freedom. And that should be the most important thing for those men down there is to come up out of that jungle that they're in. Also, the Jeffrey Williams trial started. Young Thug he's in the world of trouble. He has some sisters down there that's shooting at him. As we all know, Fannie Willis is the main prosecutor down there in Fulton County, Georgia. But she has another assistant prosecutor. That's a sister as well. That's prosecuting Jeffrey Williams. Jeffrey got a bad lawyer. Still, he on top of it. They started opening arguments, and the prosecution tried to pull a slick one, but still was ready for it. He filed a motion for mistrial. Of course, the judge denied it, but the prosecutor was trying to introduce pictures and other evidence into opening statement that she never gave Jeffrey Williams' lawyer. He never had an opportunity to look at none of this here. So she ambushed the court and the judge. Judge always side with prosecutors. No matter what they say, they're supposed to be neutral, but they're not. They always going to sway toward the prosecutor because most judges, not all of them, but most judges was former prosecutors. Is the reason that they sway that way. Very few judges come from defense attorneys to be a judge. But nevertheless, the motion for mistrial was denied, but the judge scolded the prosecutor, meaning that right now, if Steele could continue to bring out the flaws with the prosecution, the way they're prosecuting Jeffrey's case, I think that if he's convicted, it's a great chance that he will win on appeal because of the ambush and the tactics that's being used by the Fulton County Prosecution Office. So we're going to continue to update you on different events that's going on around the state of Texas and around the United States as far as trials and different laws. We're going to bring you up to par with them. Stay tuned. Continue to watch Unlock with Daryl Davis. And, hey, enjoy these holidays. People be blessed. Women, Be safe out there while you're shopping. Pay attention to what's going on. We in that season now where people are praying on each other. Just be mindful of where you're at, what's going on in your life. And remember that Jesus loves you if you belong to him. Stay tuned. Next episode coming to you.